Okay, it says we're live, so here we go. Hey guys,
Awesome.
welcome. I'm Christine. I'm owner and content creator of bloomingbrilliant.net, where I share educational resources, parenting advice, and of course, information about homeschooling. I'm a homeschool mom of 2. I homeschool my daughter, who will be 12, and my son, who will be 8, right here in Brooklyn, New York. And I love to share our homeschooling journey with you. Today, I'm so excited to have Brandy here. Brandy Riley is owner and content creator, but she's from Courage to Earn and Mama Knows It All. And you can talk more about yourself.
Hi everyone. I was trying to share the stream, but yes, I'm Brandy Riley. I'm also a mom. I have a 12-year-old like Christine, and I also have a 4-year-old. I have been working from home full time for about 10 years. There were a couple of moments in there, like a few months here and there, where I wasn't working full time, but most of the time I've been working remotely, really great positions, been able to continue to grow my career while taking care of my kids, growing my business, etc. So I am excited about this topic because Christine, I am excited about this topic.
Yes, I know. It's something that I would love to share with the community because I know as homeschool moms, it's something that we struggle with, having to either give up our jobs or careers, or for somebody like me that needs to have money coming in, it's important.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's hard. It's hard to find jobs from home because you never know if they're like real, shady, tons of scams out there, and then they want your information and all this. So I just want to jump into it so that way we could do this within like time frame. What are some great places to find reliable and reputable work from home jobs?
Yeah. So, Christine, I'm really glad that you brought up the thing about scams. So I'll probably talk about that a lot with every question because I want to make it clear that there are so many out there. And quite frankly, anything that seems too good to be true normally is. I mean, work is always going to be work. So if they're offering you a crazy amount for a salary and you don't have to hardly do anything and you get to work from home, it's probably going to be something like sales related, or it's a multi-level marketing, an MLM company or something, like, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I know for me, I was wanting something that was consistent, that I didn't have to like constantly be on social media messaging people and things like that. So to answer your question, the best places to find like really quality remote jobs would be number one, LinkedIn. I like going to LinkedIn to find out and follow the type of companies that you like. So if you are into graphic design, or if you're into you want to be a freelance writer or a staff writer at a publication, you want to do even engineering. I work in a tech field. I do some soft skill stuff in the tech field. So like basically whatever you want, follow those companies on LinkedIn. And then also just go to LinkedIn and look at their jobs features. Do a search, because what'll happen is once you start searching for what you want, and I'll be honest with you guys, when I first started looking for jobs, or anytime I'm like ready for a new position, I will go in and I will start with like parenting or moms or mothers, because I just want to see if anybody has that in their job description. And a lot of times people, companies will say, this is a great place for parents, or there are jobs that they're looking for people specifically who are parents, because they know that we have this, very unique skill set. The other place I would encourage folks to look at is Indeed.com. Indeed has a ton of jobs. Now, they are a little bit more open than LinkedIn, so you really want to be careful over there. Here's my suggestion. When you find a job that you like, don't just apply right away on that platform. Don't just apply on LinkedIn or apply on Indeed. Click the link to that company and look at their website and see what all, make sure it looks like a credible website. Also, go to glassdoor.com, because you can see referrals and comments and feedback from folks who work there, feedback from people who interview there, so you can learn about the interview process, and you can learn a little bit more about like their salaries and whether or not people think they pay fairly. So there are a lot of different websites out there to help you find jobs, but LinkedIn and Indeed, I think, are the number 1 and 2 websites to go to start your job search. Oh, when you go there, here's some words to look for. So in addition to like the parenting and moms and all that kind of stuff, I also put in search for remote. I put in search for work from home. Well, work from home, I wouldn't do that. I would just look at remote, because work from home is, now that the terminology that folks are using is remote, you want to use that, because work from home is starting to become kind of a little spammy.
Yeah,
on these
I would say
websites.
that. I would say that's more scam. You
Yeah.
find work from home in like the backs of magazines and all those things.
Exactly. Yep.
Those
Yep.
are
So
like the
look for
scams, like
remote.
stuffing
Mhm.
envelopes and stuff.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Which there's nothing wrong with that. Like if that's your thing, but
But
if
it
you're
pays
looking
you.
for, if you're looking for a career position, or even a position that just has responsibility and pays really well, you want to make sure you're looking for remote.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how about more about like applying and reaching out to the companies?
Yeah.
Any advice for that? Especially
Yeah.
like homeschoolers. I don't know if we are looked at like, can you handle homeschooling and then getting a position at a job remotely?
All right. So this is going to be a controversial answer, but it's something that I had to learn the hard way. When you are interviewing, even when you're working somewhere, those folks don't need to know all your business, So when you're interviewing, telling them that you're a homeschool mom doesn't even really need to come up, except when you're saying you're negotiating and saying, I'm looking for a job that has flexibility, that allows me to, split up my day, to work in the morning and then also to work in the evening. And the way that you present it is not because I need that, but I noticed that your company has offices on the East Coast and the West Coast. So I could start on East Coast hours and take a break and then finish up with the folks who are ending their day on the West Coast. Let me know if that works. So being really strategic about how you're approaching telling them what you need, but tell them up front, but don't give them too much information, because as much as they're not supposed to, and as much as we don't want them to, people do make assumptions if you are a homeschooling mom. For me, I have a 4-year-old in like half day preschool, like they just make assumptions about what you're able to do and not. And I don't want anybody deciding that. I'm a grown woman. I know when I can work. I know what I have the capacity to handle. So I would not tell folks that, but you are able to find positions that can cater to you. So for instance, my last position, I started at 5 a.m. I'm on the West Coast. I started at 5. I would normally go until about 10 or 11, just working. And then I would take a break and I would come back around 3 my time, or maybe even later, sometimes even 5, and work in the evening because we have folks on 24 hours. So it worked out there. At my current position, I have team members who are international. So I start my day early. I don't start at 5, but I start at 7 so I can be pretty much done by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If I need to start earlier, I will, and then I'll get off earlier. If I need to break my day up, I will. But in the interview process, just being very clear about the fact that you are looking for flexibility, but don't harp on it too much. Don't tell them too much information.
So that brought up a question in my mind. Do you have any advice for if you have gaps in your resume?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have gaps in your resume, that's where you can put the homeschooling stuff. You can put private teacher, and say and break down the things that you did, writing, choosing curriculum, writing curriculum, and all that stuff. Like put that inside of your resume. And then if there are other gaps, let them know. Just say, hey, I was home taking care of my kids. There are a lot of programs out there. Facebook has one. There's a program called the Mom Project. They have what is called returnships. So if you've been out of the workforce for 2 years or more, you can, and you have these gaps in your resume, you can apply for these returnships where they know that you have experience, they know that you haven't been working in a while, you've been taking care of your kids. And so they have roles that allow you to come in and, get your skills back up to par and while you're getting paid. So that's another thing to look up. Returnships. Look up the Mom Project. That's another good one. And there are just a bunch of programs, a lot of regional programs. So probably even in your city, they have something. I know they have stuff in New York because they definitely have stuff out here in San Francisco.
I'm trying to think of more questions. I know it was like a general
that
everybody is interested in. And I would feel like now, because of the COVID-19, we would have more remote positions available.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So I'm getting comfortable since we just gonna have a conversation. So that's good. But yeah, it's true, Christine. Like because of COVID, a lot of companies, like I know, is it LinkedIn that said, and I'm pretty sure Twitter also, like a lot of tech companies are saying you do not have to come back to the office. We are 100% virtual. That's the other thing. You can look for virtual as well, virtual and remote. We are 100% virtual. And that brings up another point. So when you're looking for those roles, just because you've had a break in your resume, or maybe you don't have like professional experience. So maybe before you had kids, you were in school and you were working as a barista. And since then you've been, you started having kids and you started homeschooling them and stuff. Don't let that stop you for applying for positions that you might be a good fit for. Look at your entire wealth of experience. Did you do volunteering? Like, were you a volunteer coordinator for Girl Scouts or whatever? Like, put all of those things in there. And then the other thing is, just because you are a homeschooling parent and you may not have worked outside of the home in a while, that doesn't mean that you take a $12 an hour position. Like if you are looking, you have to be very intentional about what it is that you want. I want a part-time job that pays me, that I can make at least $900 a week or $800 a week for, or whatever. Like just write that down. There are jobs out there for everybody at every pay rate at so many different types of companies. So I want everybody, especially moms, like I want you to feel confident in your ability to ask for what it is that you want. Because here's the thing, we all know that moms know how to manage chaos. We know how to keep calm under pressure. We know how to juggle a bunch of balls in the air, like that's just in addition to the professional skills that we have.
That's true.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Christine, because I know that you have a career and a business and you're a homeschool mom. So I have some tips about how I manage, but I want to know how you manage, because I think that we have two different experiences. Like we are, like I said, we're on the West Coast, we just moved into a house. New York, Philly, a lot of places on the East Coast, you're going to be in a townhouse or an apartment. Like it's a different experience. So how are you managing and balancing your kids?
It's not easy, but I try to keep on a schedule. So for me, I'm lucky that I have a flexible schedule at my job and that I'm able to work in the evenings. So I make sure the early part of my day is focused on the kids, focused on homeschooling. If I get an hour or two in the middle of the day where I can do work on my business, then that is my goal. If not, then it's sometimes the wee hours of the morning. But pretty much making sure that everything stays in its time frame, like more or less, is what helps me like be able to do all the things, or the majority of the things. But it's not easy, but it's worth it. Just like homeschooling. It's worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. For me, it was when we were in our apartment, and our apartment was really small. I would work in the car sometimes, like I would work in the car. I would go to a coffee shop. I would, if they were going to like my in-laws' house or something like that, I would stay home and get work done like on the weekend. I just had to shift my schedule to be able to function and still be able to manage my kids. It's a little easier now, but I still am very upfront. Like, I'll put on my work calendar preschool pickup, preschool drop off. My daughter went to camp. I would put that in my calendar and was very open about it. Like, I didn't want anybody to say, oh, well, Brandy's not at her computer. I'm not here because I am managing my kids. It's in my computer. I'm being very transparent and open about it. And that's I think, very important for us all to do, is to be transparent and open about what it is that we need from the very beginning. Like, don't get in there and think that you can change people. If they don't understand that you need flexibility from the door, it's not going to change.
Yeah.
So look at the person who's interviewing you. Talk to your boss about, like, how do they balance work and life? I asked my former boss, because she just left, but at my new job, that was one of my questions, she was a new mom, like, how do you balance it? And she was very honest about what she did and very open about what she needed as, a supervisor. And I was like, okay, that works for me. She needed a lot of communication, which, like, let me know when you're out of the office, let me know when you're back, just so that she can do her work, even while she's supporting me needing to have that balance. So if you feel like communicating will be scary or hard with the person that you're interviewing with, just say no. Just 100% say no.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very lucky that where I am, it's very flexible and communication is really easy. And that it's a great thing. Michelle is here.
Oh, Michelle. We see Michelle over there. So folks may not know this, but Christine and I work together at the company that she's at now. And I learned a whole lot, even with having our first boss was someone who didn't have kids, but they had a life of their own, so you want to make sure you're looking at that type of thing when you're interviewing bosses. Make sure they have a life, that work isn't their whole thing, because otherwise it's not going to work. If somebody thinks that work is the number one priority at all times, then it's not going to work out for a homeschooling parent at all.
Yeah. Do you have any, well, one thing that I was thinking about is that it's important to know, like, your acquaintances and, like, friends. Sometimes they have connections for you, because like, one of the big connections was you were able to help me get the job that I have now. But not being afraid to tell people what you need and what you want and what you are good at, because isn't that something you always say?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In order to, like, make those connections and get a work from home or remote job that will help you support your homeschooling, support your family, and all that.
Yeah, I love hearing you say that, Christine. Yes, because that's my thing. Like, I know it is hard to ask people for stuff, but that's just really what makes the world go round. Pretty much every job that I've gotten over the last 10 years was because somebody referred me. A friend worked there and got me in. I put out there that, and this is, full-time jobs, this is freelance stuff, consulting. I put out there that I was looking for stuff, and folks would keep their eyes open. Folks would reach out to me. So you have to let people know what you want. When you're thinking about what you want, because this can be hard too. And even for me, who I'm like 99.9% sure, I would say 70% of the time of what I want to do with my life, I still have those moments where I'm like, what do I want to do? What kind of job do I want? What do I want to do next? I would encourage you to do some personality tests. I know this seems like, wow, this is so much, but it really is helpful for helping you to prepare for interviews and stuff like that, to really be able to identify, like, what kind of worker are you as a parent? Because it might be different than the type of worker you were before you had kids, or before you were homeschooling them, or, if you were working full time out of the home and then you started being at home with the kids and then you went back, like, you might be different. So doing personality tests, checking out those things like, what color is my balloon? I think that's the name of it. Reading those type of things so you can narrow down, like, the industries that you want to be in, the type of work that you want to do, in addition to, like, how much you want to get paid. I think that's the biggest thing I want to get across, is that I don't want homeschooling parents to minimize their capabilities and their abilities. And so if I can brag for a second on my friend Christine here, Christine is you guys know this because you follow her page. So she's a talented creator and educator. She's an amazing writer. She's been writing these books and selling them on Amazon. So now she's like a whole publisher. These are transferable skills. If there was a book publishing company that had a position for like an in-house editor, remote, I'm sending it to Christine. I'm sending it to you, Christine, because you have those qualifications and I want to make sure that you have them on your resume. Not that Christine is looking for another job, but I'm just saying, so that's for all of you homeschool mom too. How many worksheets have you made? How much curriculum have you put together? Do you run a Facebook group of moms in your area who are homeschoolers? Are you the manager of like the homeschooling co-op and you plan all of the field trips or take in all of the fees or whatever? Like, look at your life and determine what it is that you are really good at, and don't downplay any of that stuff, because those are all skills that folks are looking for in tech companies and media companies all over the place. Yes, Michelle said brag on her. I have to.
I can relate to feeling like the skills that I had as a as a homeschool mom, even as a blogger, they were not worth enough for the real job market. So until I got into the company that I'm in now. So it took a lot to get there mentally. Yeah. But to, constantly tell yourself that you can do it, and to recognize the work that you put into wherever you are now, whether that is in a career, whether that's in a job, whether that is just homeschooling your kids, homeschooling your kids. That's a lot of work.
It is.
Managing a household is a lot of work.
Yep.
So yes, I agree with that. And thank you.
It is. And, there are other things that, if you're feeling, because there does come that, and we try not to use this anymore, but imposter syndrome, where you feel like, I'm not good enough. Yeah. Something that has been helping me, because, especially now in the role that I'm in, and like I said, my boss left, she was a director, and like, it's me, and in the 2 months that I was there, I was like, this is like the smartest woman I ever met. And I just, learned so much from her. And she's just brilliant woman. And she has a project management background. And I was like, okay, project management, and so I had to switch my mindset to say, okay, I know how to manage a project from start to finish, but here's what I'm missing. What sort of tools can I use to make it easier to be able to share with the department, so taking the skills that you have and learning how to frame it in a way that you can do it for other people. So I don't know any mom who is not a master at project management. I don't know any homeowner. I don't know any homeschooling parent. I don't know any adult human who has done anything for other people, volunteer, who does not have project management background or experience. So get a project management certification, take some courses. You can do it on LinkedIn, Skillshare, different places like that, where you can figure out like, okay, here's where I have a deficiency. Let me figure that out. Let me get that education. And I don't mean like going back to school and getting another degree or getting a degree or whatever, because let's be honest, there comes a certain point where people are just like, I don't want to go back to college, and college is not for everybody. But to have like the terminology down, and to have, just an understanding of how other people talk about the skills that you have is incredibly helpful. And it does a lot for your confidence.
I agree, but I always love like learning new things. So I'm always signing up for different kinds of courses and stuff. I'm like, I'm like a serial learner, or yeah.
Me too, Christine. I am like, I'm always doing something. Hey, Kara, I'm learning how to macrame right now. That's what I'm learning. Like, I'm always doing something, but that's not a transferable skill. But what I could put on my resume is, open to new experiences, flexible, creative. Like, you can figure that out. But yeah, taking some classes, keeping your eyes open. Right now, Facebook has programs for Black people or Black creators. You can there's a lot of programs out there that have free certifications for women. I took one at Cornell through Bank of America, gave us it's like a $2,300 program, and they allowed us to take it for free. And now I have that certification, and I learned a lot about business, even as an entrepreneur for a decade. And even teaching, there were things that I learned. I was like, wow, I really, really needed this. So taking some classes, don't be afraid to check it out and make sure it's something that you even want to learn how to do at a new job.
Yes. So before we leave, I wanted to share that you have an amazing newsletter that you share every week, and you also offer like opportunities for jobs that are out there, remote positions. And if you want to drop the link in the comments, either after the video or whatever, I would love to share that with my people here.
Yeah.
Get that out so that way maybe we could find some more people, some jobs and opportunities.
I would love that. Thank you, Christine. Yeah, if you guys go to courage2earn.com, a pop-up will happen and you put your email in there, and I send out, these are jobs, not just jobs that I find, but I have a big network of professionals. So they'll send me stuff because they know that I have so many brilliant women. I have men in my community, but mostly women, and they know that I have brilliant women, and they are always like, who do you know that can do XYZ? So definitely, I'll put the link in, definitely join the newsletter. And just let's stay in touch. Follow me on LinkedIn, send me a message, let me know what you're looking for, because I can always, whenever somebody lets me know, I can always, it doesn't matter if I know you or not, you let me know what you're looking for. And if I hear something, I can tag you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. It means so much to me. And so
thank you for having me.
Of course. I hope everybody found this video helpful, and we will see you tomorrow with another video. Have a great day and happy homeschooling.